now listening to Cooper Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Cooper Brooks, bringing you the best content from the NBA and NFL. Wherever you may be listening from Spotify or YouTube, thank you for listening. Alright, everybody, I am back after being off the air for 1 week as I had announced that I'd be gone for a week, and now I'm back. So, I'm ready to start this new podcasting. I'm very excited. I'm finally back, so let's get into it. So, we're going to be covering 3 different topics today. Number 1 is the NFL has finally made a announcement on Deshaun Watson's suspension. I will get into how much games it is and what does this now affect for the Browns. How does this affect the Browns now? Another one is a Miami Dolphins story that has come up today, and it's a very huge one. It's tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. We'll get in more to that when I meet on that. And then number 3, the last topic, is what has recently happened at the Cowboys training camp. A receiver on the Cowboys roster has been injured. Now the Cowboys are slim at receiver. We don't know what's going to happen, but we'll get into all of that and what's going on. Alright, so let's get into it. Episode 12, actually. It's episode 12. So, we get right into it. So, the NFL has officially made their decision on Deshaun Watson. The suspension is 6 games. Again, the suspension for Deshaun Watson is 6 games. And I have, of what is going down, what has been said so far in this article. So, yesterday it was reported, and I couldn't do a podcast yesterday because of something that ended up happening with me, but I'm A-okay and I'm doing well. So, let's start this. So, it says here that Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will serve a 6-game suspension without pay, but will not be fined for violating the league's personal conduct policy following the accusations of sexual misconduct. Disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson ruled Monday. Sue L. Robinson, if any of y'all don't know, is the judge that was in this case. That was the one that gave Watson the decision. So, it wasn't the NFL. It was Sue L. Robinson that gave the suspension. It goes on to say Robinson had issued her ruling in a comprehensive 16-page report. She wrote that the NFL recommended Watson be suspended for the entire of the 2022 regular season and postseason, which was a lot of people were going for. They were hoping that Watson would be suspended for the whole season. More of it says that the NFL Players Association and the league have until Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time to file a written appeal of Robinson's ruling. In a statement Sunday night, the union made it clear that it will stand by the decision, which means that the NFL will stand by Sue L. Robinson's decision no matter what it is, and it urged the NFL to do the same. The league, in a statement Monday, said it was determining its next steps. So, Deshaun Watson has now been handed officially a suspension. It will be 6 games. And a lot of people had a lot to say about this suspension, what they think about it. What I think about it, honestly, I stand by it. Yes, I get it, 24 sexual misconducts, but I'm not going to get into my own opinion on how it is, but I'll just stand with it. 6 games, there's nothing else we could probably do about it. But the NFL does have, this came out yesterday. It is now 2 days that the NFL has to appeal Deshaun Watson's suspension, or else he will be suspended for 6 games without pay, which also affects the Browns a lot. But they have Jacoby Brissett, who's a talented quarterback, and I think that he can get it done for Cleveland. So, Deshaun has now been suspended. What does this mean now for Cleveland? Well, they won't have their quarterback for the first 6 weeks. They will have starting quarterback Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett, he's gone on to have an excellent career. I've seen him play. His stats for... Okay. So, Deshaun Watson Jacoby Brissett has gone on to have an excellent and great career. I've seen how the man plays. He's a talented. He'll bring a lot to this Browns offense. Sorry, I'm mixing up my words here. I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry, you guys. But Jacoby Brissett has found success in the past with teams. For this past season, he went with the Dolphins. He had a 1,000-yard season, 1,283-yard season with 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions with his QB rate at 78.1. So he's not a bad quarterback. He's a very young quarterback that has talent. With the Indianapolis Colts, his 2019 year, he had a whopping almost 3,000-yard season where he went 2,942 yards. So, and he had a QB rate of 88. So you could trust this guy a little bit. And, with the receivers that he's had in the past, he could work around that. Now, the receivers he has now, he has Amari Cooper, Dante Peoples-Jones, I believe, what's his name, left and went to, gosh, I forget his name. It's in my head somewhere. Whatever his name is, I don't have time. I can't remember, but he left. So now you have that field, and you have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb as the backfield. So this could be this is going to be a good Browns squad, I think. I think Jacoby Brissett doesn't go 0-6. I think he does actually get a couple wins. Because if the Browns are 0-6, they're in the hole. Like, they're going to have to dig out of it somehow in order to get a run going and maybe not get... Because if you go 0-6 after your first 6 games, that's a lot. Because if you lose a couple more games or more, you could be out of... They could already be out of contention for the playoffs if they go 0-6. Now, they could just go on a winning streak and have 6 losses for the rest of the year. You never know, but still, it would be a bad look if they went 0-6. So I think Jacoby Brissett... He's still young in the way that he plays and with the way that his stats show. His career total in yards is 7,742. So I think Brissett has he has a young receiving core around him. So I think, and he has a good running back core and a line. I don't know. I haven't checked the Browns line, but I think he'll do good. He'll be all right. So now more on the Deshaun Watson suspension. It also reads down here, if I can find it. Yes, it reveals. There's more of it. It says if an appeal is made, then the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell or his designee will issue a written decision that will constitute full, final, and complete disposition of the dispute, per terms of Article 46 in the league's collective bargaining agreement, and relying on President Robinson sought to differentiate between violent and non-violent sexual conduct. Gosh, I cannot speak today. I'm just everywhere right now. Robinson concluded that Watson's conduct does not fall into the category of violent conduct that would require the minimum 6-game suspension. So it does not fall under violent conduct. So, which the league has established as by far the most commonly imposed discipline for the domestic or gender violence and sexual acts. The ruling replied on 32 previous suspensions under the league's personal conduct policy since 2015. In 21 of those instances, the league suspended the player for 6 games, including the cases of Darius Guys, I can't remember, and Johnny Manziel. Greg Hardy was suspended for 4 games. So, okay, so now this is just going in and explaining how long suspensions have been for domestic violence. So, now, with that, so the NFL has, so far, if you have if you have zoned out of what I've said already, it's perfectly okay. I'll give you a recap. So Deshaun officially now has his suspension. Jacoby Brissett, Kevin Stefanski has announced that Jacoby Brissett will be the starter. That's what it also mentions in here, but I can tell you that straight from my own words. Kevin Stefanski names Jacoby Brissett the starter. The NFL has 3 days, which is now 2 when this podcast uploads, to appeal Deshaun Watson's suspension, and this does not fall under violence misconduct. Now that's over with. So with that, I've talked about Brissett. So here are now we're going to talk about the schedule here. These are the first 6 weeks for the Cleveland Browns, and it's week 1, Carolina, week 2, the New York Jets, week 3, the Pittsburgh Steelers, week 4, the Atlanta Falcons, week 5 versus the Chargers, and week 6 versus the Patriots. Alright, so week 1 is already is going to be a crazy one because you're going to Carolina, you're going to Baker Mayfield, you're going to Baker Mayfield's territory, and Baker Mayfield's not coming home. It will be Cleveland that'll be going there. So it's going to be a fun, interesting matchup. But with that, I don't want to say which games they will win or won't win, but I think Brissett gives you a couple of wins, maybe like 2 or 3 at the most, or 4, or he could go 6-0. He could prove us all wrong and go 6-0. But he definitely will be the starter. He will be getting all the snaps for the first 6 weeks. So I think he could be a good backup. He'll do good for that squad. I think he'll do amazing with the Browns. And there's more on what Judge Sue L. Robinson had to say. Robinson wrote that the NFL carried its burden to prove by a preordinance of the NFL that Mr. Watson engaged in sexual assault, in parentheses, as defined by the NFL, against the 4 therapists identified in the report. Mr. Watson violated the policy in this regard. Robinson also found that Watson's predatory conduct cast a negative light on the league and its players. So now Robinson ruled that Watson is limited to his massage therapy to club-directed sessions and club-approved massage therapists for the duration of his career. And so I imposed this mandatory as a condition to his reinstatement. She also ruled that Watson is to have no adverse involvement with law enforcement and must not commit any additional violations of the policy. Watson is eligible to return for the Browns October 23rd game at Baltimore. Sources close to the quarterback told ESPN's Deanna Rossini that they believe 6 games is too much, but they respect the decision. There you go. That's one of the things I was talking about, that a lot of people are now mentioning that they think, 6 games is... Morally, it's people saying 6 games is not that... It's mostly people saying 6 games is not enough. They think it should be spent for more than that. A lot of people are going to say a year. When I was talking about